Hi, thanks so much for joining me. Today we are featuring this new Organza palette by Dior. Before we move along, I just want to point out my earrings because I get a lot of questions about them, and I know so many of you are new here and haven't seen me wear them in pretty much every video. I wear them in most videos because I love them so much. These are by Dior, so I will list them below. Yeah, I usually try to remember to list them as a first item, but I know it's easy to miss, so I just want to point these out. These are listed below. They are by Dior, and you can get them off the Dior site. And I do love them. They wear really well. I've had them for a couple years. I've dropped them. They still look really good. So just wanted to mention that. But I did pick this one up, and the reason why you did not see a swatching video, unboxing video yet is because the other one is on the way. I first bought this one because this was the only one that interested me, but I kept looking back at the other one and decided I need that one too, but decided not on expedited shipping for that. So I thought when that comes in, we'll do the unboxing of this, close-up swatches, also do close-up swatches of the other one, compare the two, also do a lot of comparisons between this and existing palettes or palettes in other lines. So please let me know what you want to see swatched against these because I will be happy to do it. And it's really helpful for me to get that information before I film so I can make sure to include all of the swatches that will be helpful. But let's go ahead to the demo. We're starting off here with primer on only half my face. I'll tell you in a moment about that. Foundation, powder, bronzer, and under eye concealer, but I have not concealed here. I wanted to test a couple of things today. So I went in with the Hourglass primer. So look for that video if you're interested in the wear time on this. I'm gonna try and wear it 8 hours today. But it's the Airbrush Primer by Hourglass. And then I also wanted to revisit this that so many of you came by for, this #1 de Chanel Foundation in BD 41. I wanted to see about building that because people wanted to see how it could actually be built. So I used that instead of concealer. So I did not conceal here today. So we're doing a little test. So when I do this video, you can see how I built up this. Sorry, everything is a little mixed up here because I'm trying to fit in a lot in these videos. Then I powdered with the CHANTECAILLE Perfect Blur Powder so you can see the difference. Now I did want to try and sneak in one of these because I still need to talk about these at some point. The Forever and Forever Skin Glow, I posted on the community tab to go ahead and leave me anything else you wanted me to compare these with because I will do side by side of these, but since this one was so new, I wanted to kind of integrate some of the questions that I've been reading to really see how that goes. And I noticed, we will be getting to this palette very soon, but just some updates here. I noticed that some of my oils broke through and disrupted the concealer about after 4 hours of wear on this. And I do have an oily T-zone area. So I don't know if you caught the note that I left in the description box that if you are in a humid climate, or if you are more oily, maybe wait for me to fully test this out if you wanted to get it, just so I can help you make a decision. If you have dry skin, I think you'll get along well with it though, but more oily skin types, let's see what happens in this wear test, and then I'll be able to give you more information. So make sure to tune into this very soon. So much going on, but again, I wanna make these as useful as possible. So let's go in with this shade first. And if you watch the unboxing, these were almost undetectable on my skin, these 3 colors. 1, 2, 3. So I'm really curious to see how they're gonna look here because I'm a little bit concerned I won't be able to see anything, but let's try. Okay, so these look better on the lids than on my arm, and you'll see that in the unboxing that it was really even hard to see these. Okay, I always get a little bit of creasing even though I put on eye base. Doesn't matter what kind of base, but do get a little bit there. So this has a beautiful reflective quality to it. It's more salmony. Of course, I will compare these with the other new palettes. Okay, now let's go in. This is a little tricky because usually I would go in with a crease here. But that I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna do with that. So let's do that first because I don't think I wanna put that on exterior. Let's put this on the exterior and into the crease. So this palette is very sheer. And I'm actually getting more of a pinky look with this, just using these two right here. Well, it is more pinky, I guess, more neutral if you look at it like this, not as warm. Okay, so right away, of course, this makes me think of that Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood palette. Not the same kind of texture, but the same, very similar shades though. So this one right here, they kind of remind me of each other. So I'll swatch those in the swatching video. But right away, I'm gonna say if you like visible, like really visible eyeshadow, you're gonna probably wanna pass on this one. This is not as visible. Let's go ahead with this shade right here. I'm gonna put that right near the outer corner. It's almost the same shade as my nail polish, that new Chanel polish that I have. And then maybe, let's take a little bit of the gold, oh, not the gold, the salmon color. Let's take it above as well. Let's see how that looks a little bit further above. Kind of like how you would add a blush color up here. Oh, so I should try and find a blush like that color. I'll have to look. I don't love that I added the salmon right on my eyelid, because that can tend to make me look ill. So let's go ahead and try and cover that up a little bit. Yeah, I don't like this right here on me. So I'm just taking the deeper shade here and going over that. And we're gonna do something else too to kind of help. I think the first shade was fine, but that salmony color, just have to be careful. And I'm gonna take a little bit of this and go in between this brown and that color, the taupe and the salmon color, just to soften that a little bit. To kind of help blend those two. And then I'm gonna take this lightest shade all the way up under the brow. I'm gonna take this shade all the way under the brow. This one right here. Now we're gonna take this. I thought this was so beautiful. It looks better in person than I think it did online. It looks really yellowy online, but it's a really pretty gold. And some of the Dior Quints have like a chunkier metallic kind of finish on them, which I don't love, but this is nice and soft. This reminds me a little bit of the holiday one, right? The one with the buildings on it. So I can swatch that one as well. Yeah, list everything below you want to see swatched against this. I will be happy to do that. But let's go ahead underneath. I'm gonna go under with this taupey shade. I have to find something for the waterline. I'll tighten line, maybe with Earth by Chantecaille, and then mascara. So let me add mascara and figure out some eyeliners. Oh, and then we have to have a blush and a lip. Okay, this eyeshadow is reminding me of some other eyeshadows just because it's got that more ethereal look to it, where it's, I think, harder to see the actual color versus the finishes. So I think it's the finishes here that are really beautiful, not so much the actual color, because I feel like you can't actually really see the color, but it is that multi-dimensional aspect that I think makes this really interesting and reminded me, and I'm just adding a little bit more of this because I do want to see just a little bit more color, but it is reminding me of something that I just pulled, because I feel like I'll need to swatch this against that. Where did it go? I just pulled it, just had it. Did I leave it over there? Hold on. Oh, I left it over here. Okay, that's why. Yeah, I don't have it. Do you remember this one? The butterfly palette from last year, Chantecaille? The finishes remind me of each other. So do you see those two colors there, but reversed? That peachy and taupe shade? So that's why I was like, this feels familiar. Like, I feel like I've done this before, and that's what it's reminding me of. But we will swatch. Okay, for blush, I picked out a few things because I feel like we need to go a little bit ethereal on the blush too. So I picked these from Chantecaille. We'll see. I think maybe I'll use this one. It's the Flower Power limited edition. I don't know if that's still available, but I thought we could go in with a pop of color from the Hourglass palette. Maybe with this, because I don't want to overpower the eyes too much. Oh yeah, let's go in with this brush by Wayne Goss because it's nice and kind of light. So I picked up the deepest shade from the Hourglass palette. Not the deepest, the brightest shade, this one. I'll just do a pop of color really quick. Just a little pop of color, and then I'm going to take a bigger brush, even though this is not big, but I'm going to take my Ray Morris brush. I don't know if this is available, but it really reminded me of the shades that are in here. A little bit brighter, but reminded me of that. So I'm going to take that and apply that. What's happening here? I don't know. Okay, I will do my hair in a moment. That's a really pretty combination. Yeah, I wish Chantecaille would come out with more of these kinds of blushes. I really love them. I love the philanthropy blushes, but these are really, really beautiful finishes. Okay, and then let's go in with, I really liked this, the number 28. I think it's only available on the Dior site now. Just taking the taupe shade. Oh, I have a little hair here. Okay, and let me just grab a fragrance. I was looking around at my fragrances and I was looking for something kind of floral because this reminds me of spring and something light. And then I remembered I received this Rouge, and it's the Chanel number 1, and I didn't try it, so let's try it together. Oh, that's a little sweet. Okay, let me let it settle in. Okay, sweet is not my fragrance, but let's see. It says, so the fragrance mist is actually not under their fragrances, but it's under skincare. It says it's infused with red camellia extract and camellia water to refresh and invigorate the senses. Okay, it's settled in a little bit. There's something very botanical in there though, which I like. It smells really fresh. Spritz onto the body and décolleté or under your signature scent, or wear Le Rouge on its own. Okay, so this might be, actually, I like it. I was gonna try putting something over it, but I like it on its own. Yeah, it's nice, okay. Yeah, the initial scent was a little too sweet, but that's dissipated now because I don't like sweet fragrances. It really smells like you're smelling a flower, which has a botanical element to it. Here's a final look. Let's take a look at the eye. So I have some thoughts about this palette. First is that it's not what I thought it would be. It looked very vibrant online in the photos. I didn't really look for any looks though that were created with them, but it looked like it would be more vibrant than it looks on the eye. So it's a very, very subtle look. Not for people who like a lot of impact, like a lot of color. I feel like if you want something vibrant, then I would go with the trio that I recently featured. Much more vibrant in their color. This one is very, very subtle. So it's all about the finishes of the shadows rather than the color itself, at least on me. It might look different on someone with a different skin tone, but I'm more of a medium. So if you liked something like this butterfly quad, or if you missed it and you wanted it, I'm still gonna swatch them, but it really is reminiscent of this kind of look where I know there were some people who wanted more color payoff with this, but that's not what this palette was about. I don't know their intent with this palette, but my inclination is that it's all about the finish. So it's a very light, springy, airy kind of palette, but also different than their other quints. I get much more color payoff with the other Dior palettes that I have. I'm just assuming the pink one will also be this kind of light, ethereal, airy kind of look. Very specific though, and I think really pretty, but for me, I would probably take another color and just build it up just a little bit more on the exterior to get a little more dimension going. So between this and the new Chanel palette that I picked up, they seem to be on the same wavelength. The finish is what's the interesting part rather than the color. But again, also very different than the other two palettes that I picked up. So I liked all of the shades in here, just really faint. And again, I would keep the salmony shade further away from my eyeball and just place it kind of like where I would place blush. But I think my favorite was this color actually in here, this goldish shade. It was really beautiful. So make sure to check in maybe tomorrow or the next day. I'm not quite sure when I'll get it edited. The Hourglass, this video is coming up very soon. But that is it for today's video. So please take care of each other. Stay well. If you enjoyed this video, if you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you next time.